Welcome everybody to Extreme Off-Road Silly Builds, and today we're dealing with the 2020 Ford Super Duty F-450 DRW Platinum. Now this has 1,149 horsepower, 2,319 pounds-feet of torque from its 7.3 litre turbo diesel V8 engine. The car itself now weighs 6,479 pounds. Still has all-wheel drive, but it now has off-road suspension on off-road tyres, and it can now do 0 to 60 in 3.778 seconds, 0 to 100 in 7.259 seconds, and going to a top speed of 165 miles an hour. So obviously this still weighs a hell of a lot in terms of weight, and is obviously no way near as small as some vehicles that we've taken out on this series, and the horsepower in comparison to the amount of weight isn't that great, but obviously it has a huge amount of torque, which is pretty much available across the rev range because it's a very low revving diesel engine. So yeah, the acceleration, the launch and the speed are fairly decent. The handling though is really rather weak, as you can see. Granted, it's better than it was originally because the front tyres aren't skinny as hell, but yeah, it's still nowhere near as good as you would want in a car with more than 1,000 horsepower. Braking is good though, so if we do start to make a mistake, we can hopefully slam on and avoid such a mistake. But yeah, and the off-road capability is really rather good, but the fact it's still in A class is also a sign that this isn't going to be the fastest that we've had on the series. And yeah, highly doubt it's going to be as quick as the quickest Ford that we've had on this series so far, the Mustang Mach-E 1400, which is still in 5th place. So yeah, but let's see what this giant truck can do, and hope and pray that it can at least be reasonably quick, because yeah, I don't have the highest expectations for this whatsoever. But, you know, might well be surprised. Let's see if it does. See, it's quite quick for its gears, even though it's now got a 7-speed gearbox. It's, yeah, lightning fast because, you know, it's got very low revs. And diesel engines usually have their power their peak power very briefly in their rev range. Although I think with the sheer amount of torque this has going on, it's probably going to be mostly torque throughout that rev range and not very much in the way of the horsepower. It's got good turning circle though, despite, you know, having such a long wheelbase, purely because of those front wheels having an odd amount of, you know, turnings to them, which is why they're usually quite thin at the front in these kind of trucks. It's easier to turn them all over the way. But that doesn't matter here, so yeah, they are wider, and now they are off-road tyres to help deal with this rough stuff. What it has on its side, outside of the massive amount of torque, is the fact it was all-wheel drive standard, so that's not something extra it's having to deal with. And even though it does now have off-road suspension, it was hardly a low-slung sports car to start with, so yeah, this was meant for dealing with the rough stuff in some regard, but obviously not this kind of power or torque or speed really. Pretty sure this can go to 0 to 100 quicker than it could ever do at 0 to 60 in original form, so yeah, definitely a formidably quick truck despite so much weight still being behind it. Obviously it's not the lightest you could get it. Take those lights off for instance and make the tyres the same width as they were originally, and you would have a lighter vehicle. Also ditch the all-wheel drive system and you'd be even lighter again, but yeah, we need all of that to perform well here. There's no way this would be as stable as it is being with only rear-wheel drive and skinny tyres front and rear. Really impressive turning for a truck of this size. Because it weighs so much, it's pretty much able to plough through all the road furniture with no issue. It doesn't seem quick, but it's fairly consistent in terms of what it's able to do. really been bogged down by anything, or really struggled in any regard, to be honest. So it does have that going for it, but yeah, it's just not that quick. Although to be fair, it is far from the slowest vehicle that we've had on this series, but hardly the quickest of the last few vehicles that we've taken out. So 3 minutes 32.721 was that? Let's have a look. Yes, 721. So yeah, that takes us right near the bottom, but not quite near the bottom as I expected, to be honest. It's quicker than the Porsche Taycan Turbo S, which, you know, is a more modern car, but obviously an electric, you know, sports car. It's not really a off-road vehicle, so no surprise this is slightly quicker than that. But it is also quicker than the Neo EP9, the Subaru STI S209, the Renault 8 Gordini, Renault 4L Export, the Toyota FJ40, again no surprise in that because that kept falling over, as well as the Peel P50 and the Peel Trident. So yeah, it is surprising that it's quicker than the Subaru STI, because obviously that is, you know, a far lighter, far more nimbler car. But yeah, the fact that it's, you know, very close to the likes of the Nissan Pickup Rally Raid and the Liberty F-150 Pre-Runner, you know, it's only about a second slower than either of those, is fairly impressive given the huge amount of weight that this is going on, the fact it's still in A class, and the fact that it's not got anywhere near the you know, the level of horsepower of some vehicles on this series. So yeah, on the whole I'm impressed by it, especially, like I said, given all of those flaws that it's got going with it. But I think it was as quick as it was because it has plenty of torque, it's fairly quick for its gears, and those front wheels, because of how much turning lot they have, made it a lot more agile around some of the sharper corners than you would have expected it to be. So yeah, far from the quickest that we've had, but yeah, in terms of easy cars to drive, it was an easy car to drive, but unfortunately just not a quick one. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.